Hi everyone, it's Katie from Paradise Falls family. In this mini-series I'm covering our trip to the Netherlands and Belgium in February 2024. We spent a brilliant week here with 2 nights in Amsterdam, 4 nights at Center Parcs in Belgium and finishing with a night at Efteling theme park. We'd wanted to do this trip for years, mainly to visit Efteling, but we also wanted to spend some time at Center Parcs too, so we ended up building a whole week away in February half term. In this video we'll talk about our time in Center Parcs, specifically the Vossemeren Park in Belgium. We stayed here for 4 nights, Monday to Friday, and had a brilliant time. In this video I'll give an overview of the park, what we got up to and what we thought, with some tips along the way. Those of you in the UK will likely already be familiar with Center Parcs, with there being 5 sites located in England and 1 in Ireland. We've never actually stayed at any of these sites before though, as the cost during school holidays can be really expensive. However, there are numerous other sites in Western Europe which are often a lot cheaper for a very similar stay. We've actually stayed at one of these before in France, at the Lac de Lette site, and had a mixed experience. However, that was an older site in the cheapest accommodation type, so we wanted to give European Center Parcs another try. Center Parcs have sites across France, Germany, the Netherlands and Belgium, giving you loads of options to explore different regions. In our case, we knew we were going to visit Efteling near the Netherlands and Belgium border, so we wanted a site somewhere relatively near. Other than this, we weren't too fussed on location, so we selected De Vossemeren as it was recently renovated, offered a great indoor water park and was really reasonably priced. Given we weren't too impressed with our previous stay in France, we wanted a newly renovated site and a better standard of accommodation to ensure that we really enjoyed our stay. We booked a premium cottage for around €600 for the 4 of us and picked cottage number 455 as it was pretty close to the central hub. We also didn't want to be too close to the main lake, as when we stayed in France we'd suffered with loads of flies by the water in the heat. Although with it being February, we didn't expect this to be too much of a problem this time. This time we were really impressed with our accommodation. We had a 2-bedroom cottage with a nice lounge, kitchen and dining area. We also had a patio that, although we didn't use, I'm sure would be really nice in the summer. The bathroom was really good quality with a separate toilet, and we had loads of space and room to make it our home for the week. Although we were about as close to the main hub as you could get, we never noticed any noise at all, so it was still a really peaceful stay. Going back to our arrival, we began the day in Amsterdam, spending around half a day there, and make sure to check out our vlog covering our time here, which you can find in the same playlist as this vlog. We left mid-afternoon and made the drive down to Center Parcs in just under 3 hours, hitting the rush hour traffic on the way. The route takes you down past Utrecht and Eindhoven, so these are also good stops if you want to break the journey. On arrival, we decided to head straight to a supermarket to stock up for the week. Our plan was to cook some meals for ourselves to keep costs down a little bit, so we found a Carrefour shopping centre in the middle of Lamel, the nearest town to Center Parcs, and did a mini big shop before heading out to our accommodation. By this time it was dark and raining, so trying to find our cottage wasn't particularly easy, but on arrival day you're allowed to drive right up to it to unload, before parking in the main car parking lot, which made it a bit easier. We then spent the evening getting settled in and planning our next few days. We wanted to spend some time relaxing and enjoying the site, having had a busy few days in Amsterdam, so we weren't planning any trips out to the surrounding area. Our main plan for the week was to spend quite a bit of time in the Aquamundo, which was the indoor water park, with some other activities mixed in. The Aquamundo was one of the main reasons we chose this site, and I have to say it was absolutely excellent. It had everything you'd want: a wave pool, rapids, numerous water slides and a brilliant outdoor area with a rapids and slide thing that the kids absolutely loved. There was even a reef where you could snorkel and see tropical fish, although it's worth noting you're not actually in the same pool as the fish, as there are underwater windows through to an adjacent pool. What we really liked as well was that it was open fairly late, until around 9 PM, which meant that while it was busy, it was never horrendous and the queues for the slides were pretty short. We ended up spending a really good chunk of time here every day and had a blast. I'll put a link to the site map in the description below this vlog, but the Aquamundo sits inside the Central Market Dome, which is basically the nerve centre of the site, very close to our cottage. Within here you've also got the supermarket, restaurants, shops and loads of other activities. Looking at the supermarket first, we didn't want to spend much time here, expecting it to be incredibly expensive, hence why we'd stocked up before we arrived. Nevertheless, we still needed a few bits, so did visit here and found it to have loads of choice and actually really reasonable prices. So make sure to keep this in mind and don't just discount it like we had done. Elsewhere, there are a couple of other shops selling toys and clothes and homewares, etc. We didn't find much for us here, but they were useful when we needed replacement swimming goggles and badminton rackets. In terms of eating, you've got several restaurants and cafes. First of all, you've got Evergreens, an all-you-can-eat buffet that was really expensive, so that meant we never tried this. Then you've got Nonna's Family Pizza and Pasta and Fuego Adventure Grill. Both good options that we would have tried, but they weren't open whenever we wanted to eat. I think this is because we tended to eat out at lunch and then cook for ourselves in the evening, which is when most of the restaurants opened. The two we did try were Frites and Grand Café. Frites is basically just burgers, hot dogs and chips, but it was really nice and reasonably priced, great for a quick lunch on the go. I think it was around €50 for the four of us. Grand Café we discovered on our last day, thinking it was more just of a coffee shop, but it actually did a great range of food too. And then finally, inside the Aquamundo, you've also got Grabber Joe's Laguna Cafe, if you're hungry when you're swimming, but we never tried this. So in short, you've got loads of options on site to keep you well fed throughout your stay. In terms of entertainment, the dome is laid out and landscaped beautifully with a lovely lagoon in the middle, home to turtles, flamingos, parrots and fish. There are stepping stones and bridges crisscrossing the water which the kids loved, and it's a really nice space. This is also where kids shows take place for younger ones. Above all this is a bar area which has pool tables, air hockey and a bowling alley, all of which we really enjoyed. Then on the other side of the dome is the entertainment area. This is where you've got the arcade, mini golf, trampolining, badminton courts, the spa, the climbing wall, archery, table tennis tables and much more, most of which we tried ourselves during our stay. Now while that's a really impressive list, the entertainment on site was actually where we were a little bit disappointed. This was for several reasons. Firstly, everything I've just listed, and in fact I think pretty much everything you could do other than the swimming pool cost extra. So as a young family of 4, you can imagine that this cost quite a lot, even over just a few days. We did receive some vouchers as part of our booking, but these were quite limited as to what you could use them on, and they didn't really go very far to be honest, as it was all quite expensive. To give you an idea, a round of mini golf was just under €10 per person, with climbing and badminton etc. similarly priced. We expected this to a degree, but it did seem to be really excessive, charging for just a few minutes on the trampolines for example. I think you could get over this if everything was top notch, which unfortunately it wasn't. A lot of the activities just felt a little bit old and in need of a refurb, particularly the mini golf. And actually, a lot was aimed at much younger kids in some cases, which surprised us. The site is listed as recently refurbished, and you could tell that the cottage and the pool definitely had been, but I'm not sure that they've got to the other communal areas yet, so this is something just to be aware of. Nevertheless, we did still have a good time, so don't let it be a deal breaker, just make sure to budget for all of the extras. The other aspect to the entertainment offerings is that you need to be quite organised to make sure you fit in everything you want to do. You can book most things through their app, although not using the vouchers, which was frustrating. And it also has daily schedules, but not all activities run every day, so you need to plan your time carefully and book ahead to avoid disappointment. Also note that when you check in, you're given wristbands, a bit like magic bands if you've been to Disney World, and then all your reservations and activities are stored on there, so keep these with you and keep them safe. I mentioned in the list of things to do the spa, so I'll touch on this briefly. Eva and I did try the spa for a mother-daughter session, which was €35. This was a group session for mothers and daughters, which was nice, although probably not as high quality as you might expect from a proper spa. One side of the room was used for storage, and then you exited onto the badminton courts, so it wasn't quite the relaxing experience we were expecting. They basically provided products to enable you to give each other a mini facial and paint each other's nails. You do this yourselves, and they're not professionals on hand to do this for you. They do offer full spa services, although I can't comment on these as I decided against booking anything for myself. Elsewhere for kids, they offer kids tattoos and braids in the Market Dome, but again this is extra, around €7, and you need to pre-book in order to do this activity. Moving outside, you've got a play area right in front of the dome, as well as the bungee trampoline, which again costs around €8 per go. Then you've got Discovery Bay, an indoor pirate themed area, and the high adventure experience. Around the other side of the dome there are tennis and football courts. The tennis courts had been converted while we were there and were being used for paintballing, which only left 2 football and basketball courts. Further round still is the lake, where there are various water sports on offer in better weather, not something we were considering in the chilly month of February. The rest of the site is then just predominantly cottages, but there are a few other activities dotted around. The cycle centre for one is located right by the reception near the front entrance. Renting a bike or some other form of transport is really needed if you're located far away from the central area, unless you like long walks. For us, being so close to the centre and the dome, we didn't need any, but we did rent a couple of bikes just for a few days so we could enjoy cycling around the site. This came to €61 for one adult and one child bike for 2 days. We didn't think this was unreasonable, but it nevertheless is another cost to account for. Dotted around the site, you've then got Laser Quest, the children's farm for pony rides, the nature lodge and the sports fields. We didn't have time to try all of this with there being so much to do, and although I've noted a couple of negatives, we did have a really fun week with there being so much to keep you busy. Just make sure you do your research in advance. So that hopefully gives you a decent overview of the park. Moving off-site, one of the main excursions advertised is the Efteling theme park over the border in the Netherlands. This is around an hour away, and it's where we went when we left at the end of the week. There are a few other bits and pieces you can do in this area, but I think the main advantage of staying here is that it's right on the border of Belgium and the Netherlands, so it's well situated for any of the big cities you may want to visit for the day. Closer to home, the nearest town is Lamel, where we did our supermarket shop, and the surrounding area was lovely, and it's a beautiful part of the world. A few final tips before we wrap up, just around packing and what to bring. There seem to be different packages available for bedding and towels and a welcome pack. The package we'd booked meant we were given bedding but no towels. We'd brought 4 towels with us for swimming, but stupidly we hadn't realised there wouldn't be towels in the room. We just about managed, but it meant we were using the same towels for the pool and shower, which wasn't that nice, so make sure to pack extra towels. In our welcome pack, we were given a tiny bottle of washing up liquid, a few dishwasher tablets, a tea towel and a cloth. This all just about lasted the 5 days, but it might be worth bringing a few extra essentials with you so you're not having to buy a full bottle of washing up liquid on your family holiday, for example. So now we've done 2 different stays at European Centre Parcs, what is our verdict? Overall, we were far more impressed with our second stay at a recently renovated site than our previous stay in France. I think the choice of park here is pretty crucial. I've mentioned some aspects of the site that I still think need refurbishing, but nevertheless we still had a really nice few days here. It was peaceful, relaxing and fun, and we were never short of things to do in lovely comfortable accommodation. So long as you're prepared to pay for all of the extras while you're here, we'd really recommend it for a cheaper European trip, even if you just use it as a base to explore a new part of Europe. As I mentioned, at the end of our stay at Center Parcs, we moved on to Efteling, back in the Netherlands, so look out for next week's vlog covering our time there. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to our channel as it really does make a difference, and we've got loads more vlogs coming this year. If you've got any questions or any other tips, then please let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching.